Hi guys, and welcome to today's session. So I'm going to be doing something I occasionally do on this channel, which is sort of show you what I'm working on in my own practice. So I do a lot of little miniature paintings to give you a sense of scale. This is my hand compared to this little skull. It's not actually the smallest that I do, but it's relatively small compared to a lot of normal paintings, so a little bit more detail packed in. What I want to do is show you the sort of final stage of a painting, one of my paintings. So even though you've not seen me build this up, I just want to show my kind of process for doing final refinements to a piece. So the first thing that I would do is take a little bit of my medium, which is a mixture of oil and spirit, and I use that just to resaturate the darker tones in the painting. Because you want to make sure the final pass that you do matches all your previous tones. Because what happens with an oil painting is you will get so I picked up just a little bit of the black paint and I'm pulling that slightly over some of the darker halftones, because what I'm going to be doing next is establishing some black glazes. So basically I'm going to be just glazing black. I'm going to be doing it a little bit more precisely. Using some smaller brushes, which I'll grab now. And these glazes just allow me to really easily get nice little soft transitions in. And if you've watched other videos of me working, you'll have seen me use this process before. If I go too far with it, I can take a little bit of my medium, dip a small brush into my medium, and basically just wipe back. So you can see I'm just wiping back that darker black tone that maybe I feel went a little bit too far. And I'm going to take this other smaller brush that I've got, and we're going to use that to put in some precise little black glazes. It's literally just black paint. So right now all I'm using is black paint, and it's just a really nice little easy way to refine stuff. Because when you glaze with black, it doesn't really shift the color much, as you'd imagine. It shifts slightly warmer, so you can sort of see as I'm laying in these sort of slightly darker adjustments, it's pushing maybe just a tad darker, a tad warmer. And that's because pretty much all glazes, so a glaze being when you put a darker tone over a lighter tone thinly, so a transparent pass, they will tend to shift a little bit warm when you put them on. The opposite happens when you do what I refer to as a scumble. What I was taught was a scumble. And there are different kind of meanings sometimes for these sorts of words in painting, but for me, a glaze is, as I say, when we're doing this, which is putting a darker tone transparently over a lighter tone. So pretty much everything I'm making a little bit darker because nothing on the painting is going to be as dark as black, apart from the bits that are already black, and they're the same value. So this is a glaze. If I was to do what's called a scumble, what I call a scumble, that's when you do, like, say, white paint over something darker. And when you do a scumble, you'll get a cool shift. I'm not really sure on the science behind it, but that's what happens. You basically, like, a light color painted over a darker color will shift cooler. So essentially it'll, like, look a little bit bluer in the way that this is looking kind of orangier, this black glaze. The the white will look bluer. So I'm putting just basically different levels of density black paint where necessary. Like here I'm going quite opaque with my black paint just to make sure it's so I'm just kind of fading it out from the dark shadow. So I'm just going to let the black blur slightly over this edge of halftone, and you can see it just makes it feel a little bit rounder. So I'm just using it to kind of tweak the roundness of things, tweak the depth of them. And it works really well. Like I always recommend this to people, but I can't recommend it enough as a little technique. It's sort of definitely one of the fundamentals of my approach. And obviously it's not going to work for everyone, but I definitely recommend trying it out. So you basically you've pretty much got your painting finished, and then you go in with some medium and just pure black paint. And you just go through and you find places that you need to go a little bit warmer, and then you just fade out. So you can see I'm just smudging really thinly with the brush, fading it out. If any of you have done egg tempera, it's actually very similar to some techniques that one uses for egg tempera, because you do work inherently. It's a very transparent medium, egg tempera. Pretty much every pass is a little bit like this, because you can't easily build things up opaquely with thick paint. Can use it over the brow as well, so I'm going to do just now. Just fuzzing it over that dark halftone meaning shadow line. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to switch now to a different colour. I'm going to take some burnt umber, which is the colour that I used a lot within the shadows, and I just want to start to reshape just a few tiny little details. So like where the bones meet from the top of the skull. So just anywhere I want to pull the tone out slightly, can do that with the burnt umber. Very similar to what I'm doing with the black. It goes a little bit warmer even again, and it's not quite as dark as the black. So for instance, I want to just get the teeth to feel a little bit more polished. So I'm going to put more of a definite shadow edge and sense of a reflected light by putting the shadow edge in. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take the brush I was using to wipe stuff down. I'm going to get just some pure white paint. So then this is the next stage. We've just used a tiny bit of black and a little bit of burnt umber. And then I'm using pure white because I want to get some crisper little highlights into the piece as well. So say where we just define the shape of that bone cutting in. Can pop a little highlight above there. And I can blend it out a little bit, similar to what I was doing with the white paint. sorry, the dark paint. I can say pull a slightly faded white tone across here. And then I want to really just get the lightest parts of the painting to be definitively pure white. So I'm putting just white paint here. So I've got a little highlight just along the cheekbones. Down the bridge of the nose. I'm just using that black burnt umber brush. It's a little bit of blending across where we just added the white. yes, I'm pretty happy with that. And maybe one last thing I'll do is just to use one of the brushes just to sort of smudge this edge a little bit. I'm not bothered by the fact there's a bit of grey there, it's actually useful, but what I want to do is just blur it. So a lot of this, the glazing stuff's just about using blurring, etc. So you can see that looks a lot better now. But yeah, that's it for today. So I'd call this painting finished. For me, obviously, you can always work to things to different standards for yourself, but that just sort of shows you what my kind of final steps are if I'm painting something. How I finish things off to make sure they're as dark as I want them to be, as light as I want to be, and they have the transitions that I want as well. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that and found it useful. If you want to ask any questions about my process, you can comment below. And as always, hit the like button to get more videos from myself and other tutors. And if you want to find out about the paid qualifications we offer, you can click the link in the description and check out our website. So yeah, that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys soon.